Leeds United lost on the road again, going 3-1 down to Nottingham Forest in an all too familiar away performance. Lucas Mecha burst us into an early lead, but Amari Hutchinson had other ideas, as Forest were just too strong for the Whites. Is Farke's time up? Let's break it down where it all went wrong. What is going on, everybody? A very welcome back to LeedsBros for Talking Points. It is the day after the day before, as Leeds United did lose 3-1 down at the City Ground. We're here to break it all down and get through all the talking points of the game. Of course, we're going to speak about Daniel Farke and his future. We're also going to speak a little bit about the 49ers as well, because myself and Dylan feel that Daniel Farke isn't completely to blame with everything that's gone wrong at Leeds United at the minute. So as always, guys, please make sure you're dropping a like on the video. Hit subscribe if you're new here as well. And of course, get your comments in the comment section below. Dylan, let's get straight into it. How are you keeping, brother?
I'm an emotional wreck. It's as simple as that. Start, middle, and end of the story. Yeah, look, you need time to deflate. You need time to think about it, where it went wrong, what went wrong, how do you bounce back from it, etc. The usual. But I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to hang on. I think, you know, when you go into that mindset after a loss like that and all the negativity, you know, you just go into a negative state itself. So yeah, I'm trying not to look into it too much. I'm trying not to look. I'm not really social media as it is, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to look at it, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to stay away from it in a nice way.
It's everywhere, Dylan. It's everywhere. Yeah. Like the WhatsApp group is popping off. You know, all the Twitter's popping off. Instagram, you see it everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, and it's in your face, isn't it? And yesterday, obviously, look, we recorded our match reaction after the game, when we put it out kind of later on in the evening, and when it's raw and emotional, and you don't really know what to think, Dylan. You know, after a loss like that, and after you've seen Leeds United perform like that, back-to-back really bad performances away from home, so you're kind of almost lost for words. You're trying to scramble for words to try and, you know, describe how you're feeling, try and make sense of everything that's gone on at the football club. But look, we've had a day to think about it. We're going to go through all the goals one by one, where it looks like it is gone wrong for Leeds United at the minute. We do seem to be conceding very similar goals, the very same issues, and the drop-off in performance that we've had. So we are going to look at the players, of course, because they do have some responsibility to take in this as well. You look at Daniel Farke, and then we're also going to look towards the 49ers as well. But then I want to go back right to the very start, before the game, the team lineup, because I think this is a big talking point as well. Is obviously during the week we hear Daniel Farke in his press conference that Willie Gnonto will be available for selection for this game. We did hear there was half a chance before at Brighton, but it always felt very unlikely. But he confirmed during the week that he will be available for selection for this game. In the meantime as well, the club put out a training video with Willie Gnonto back in team training and being welcome back in. And it all felt very good, all felt very positive going into this game. Dan James was obviously still available, and I felt like we were getting our wingers back, that attacking threat that we've been missing. So we did feel very positive going into the Forest, and then the team lineup comes out, or the squad comes out, and Willie Gnonto isn't in the squad. So you're wondering what is going on, what has gone wrong here. So talk through the Willie Gnonto situation, and we'll go through the starting 11 then.
Yeah, you know, when the press conference came out, immediately, like all fans, you know, you need to listen. You want to hear what the injuries and concerns are. When he did talk about Willie Gnonto, going back, you know, off camera, what you said the previous week, you know, he said that he was back in training, but he did have a hernia operation. It's 50-50 whether you make it or not. So you're kind of happy at the fact that he is on the bounce back, but you're not going to be too upset if he doesn't make it, in the sense of at least he's on the way back. You fast forward to last week's press conference. The version I got of it, more or less, that he was available and that he will be available. I didn't expect him to start, don't get me wrong, but certainly being selected for the squad, Darren.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. It's as simple as that. It was a shock. I'm kind of it's like we're all being put in the dark room and not being told the truth of what's going on. Could be something silly, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make it out that's a big ordeal, you know, something's going on. I'm not going to make any false media claims or etc. But it's just a bit annoying, because we've had this issue with wingers. We've had this issue with our attacking threat in general. Yeah. Willie Gnonto is that man for us at the minute. You know, we've seen what he can do. We know what he can do in the Premier League. And it's just great to have him back and to not see him even in the squad. It's a bit of a letdown. Certainly a letdown. And then I think it stings that little bit more because of the result there.
Yeah. He obviously spoke a little bit then in his post-match. We jumped forward a little bit to his post-match as well. He was asked about Dan James, and obviously, look, every Leeds United fan can see, and anyone that watches Leeds United can see that we're very toothless going forward. That the only ball carrier that we have in this team is Noah Okafor. So you're looking at maybe someone like Dan James, and we call for it, Dylan, in the starting 11 show just to shake it up a little bit. And it was no offense against Brendan Aronson, but we're just missing that little bit of quality going forward. And like, you see when Dan James comes on, he's not afraid to have a shot, right foot, left foot. He's not afraid to put the ball in the box, not afraid to go at his man. Not saying he had a fantastic performance yesterday, but he's a little bit more kind of direct. And you think it's a chance for Leeds United to go at Forest yesterday. Sean Dyche hasn't fully put his footprint on this team yet since he's came in. So I wanted a little bit of a shake up there. So when you see the lineup and Aronson's kind of starting again and Okafor, and you kind of know, Dylan, within the first 10 minutes of the game, what Leeds United are showing up, and we did. We were very, very poor. And to be honest with you, Dylan, I think we were actually lucky to get the goal because other than that, we didn't create anything. I think it came out of nowhere. I think Forest looked like the side that were going to score. Obviously, Lucas Perry makes a fantastic double save just before that. So again, it was a very toothless performance in front of goal. The midfield I thought was very poor. It's non-existent in the last couple of games. We're getting bypassed far too easy in that midfield. 1 or 2 passes and they're in behind with 3 in midfield. That's not good. That's not a good. And then obviously our defence there as well. And I actually think we've got worse since Pascal Straukas came out. That could be all for me. Another bad performance. Wasn't great against Brighton. Another poor performance again yesterday. And we're going to get into that as we go forward through the graphs and go through the goals. So it's worrying at the minute. It's a very precarious position, Dylan, for Leeds United. Obviously seem to be dropping down the table. We're still on that point per game ratio, 11 points, 11 games played. But yeah, the feeling, I think, and the performance and everything that's kind of surrounding it at the minute, it's not good.
I think, when you look at it real quick, the likes of Sunderland, the teams that have come up, we've obviously lost against Burnley as well. It does make it that little bit more worse. Yeah. Going back to what you said there, even about the midfield, I have to agree. Be all for me yesterday. And I did say, and I'm not going to go back on what I said. I thought he actually played okay, to be fair.
Really? I thought he was bad.
Certainly in the first half. Then yet again, the second half comes and all hell breaks loose. And then he wasn't in the right positions, wasn't shutting his man down. So stings. It does sting, especially spending that amount of money on a player to bring him in. We're all waiting for him to come on, waiting, gets his chance. As I said, you go back to West Ham. He played okay, considering West Ham weren't great. And then there's 2 games on the bounce where he's just let us down.
Yeah.
But it's the attacking threat as well there. Going back to it again with, Nanto, James, DCL, Pirro, Meche. To be fair, you have to give an applaud to Lucas Meche for getting the goal because it's something that we are missing, and he done it.
It was a great finish, Dylan, wasn't it? Especially because Perry, obviously, it's a fantastic save, Dylan. He's basically on his arse. The ball's gone over his head. He claws it back out, but it's a save after that then as well, where the Forest man was running in. He's able to get up and punch it away. It's a fantastic double save from Lucas Perry. So then you think we've got let off the hook there. It looked like an all but goal for Nottingham Forest, and Leeds go up the other end. We get the goal. We go 1-0 in front, and you're expecting us then to show our impetus and control the game a little bit better. I felt like we sat in then. I felt like we got very naive. I felt like we got very nervous. Yeah. We invited them onto us. We were giving them the ball back a little bit easy. They were coming through our midfield very easy. We'll get into it, Dylan, for the first goal here, because particularly obviously annoyed, and I'm sure most people are. This is where Nottingham Forest's first goal come from. So you see obviously their circle there in Y. You've got Ndoye with the ball, and then you've got Ethan Ampadu and Gabby Goodmunson beside him. So you're thinking, there's no way he's getting a cross into the box here. But he does. He checks back inside, gets his cross in, and it obviously comes out to Lucas Perry. But circle there in blue, you've got Anton Stack and Sean Longstaff completely ball watching. So they're not even aware that there's 2 Forest men running in behind them, completely unmarked. And this is a team that we've seen from Leeds United over the last couple of weeks. Runners being allowed to come into the 6-yard box completely unmarked. And you've got Sangari there, who was obviously the eventual goal scorer. And this is where the goal comes from then as well. So it gets from there into the box, and Sangari has a tap in, and you see Longstaff and Stack there again, completely marking absolutely no one, completely ball watching. Then you've got Ampadu, Goodmunson, and Okafor again there marking absolutely nobody. So it's not a good look, Dylan, the first goal. And as I said, it's something that seems to be setting in for Leeds United, that kind of get to the boyline, crosses coming in and scoring the goals. And I think Forest might have looked at that game against Brighton and said, we can get a Leeds down the wings here, get them down the wings. They're not tracking our runners into the box, and we have a tap in. Very poor goal to concede after going 1-0.
You go back to that force graph that you have. You have Okafor sitting there as well. I know you haven't got marked. I know you're alluding to it. But how does he manage? You look at the Forest player with the ball. immediately Amadou should be covering that, watching the ball coming in, with Gabby
Yeah.
taking the fall if he has to turn back in. But not only is Gabby there, so is Okafor. He could easily
Yeah.
come across as
I
well.
don't really mind Okafor, Dylan, because he's already 2-on-1.
No, what I'm
He's two,
saying is,
he's 2-on-1 at the point. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but Ampadu's the one that's decided to vacate his position.
yes,
Where really
yes,
it should be Okafor giving good months in the dig out. But look, Ampadu goes
of
across there.
course.
So you're thinking, how is he allowed to get the cross in with the two of them there? At minimum, they should be blocking that, and that ball should not be allowed to come into the box. I've
Yeah.
obviously watched the back. Perry, like the ball's fizzed across the box, Dylan, and he has to make a decision. Be all you're thinking there as well. Can he get his foot to it and stop it coming in? If the ball comes in, he doesn't. And then Perry obviously palms it straight out then to Sangari as well. So it's poor, Dylan. It's really,
It's a
really poor.
collective
It's
error.
skill. Yeah, it's a collective. It's a schoolboy error altogether. But again, Dylan, it's something that we've become accustomed to see. We've seen it down in Brighton as well. The exact same thing. There we get into the byline. Easy balls coming across the box. Georgie as well doing the exact same thing when he won the ball back off Bogle.
Yeah.
Plays it across the box and there's a free runner coming into the box. And
And-
that's the minimum thing that we expect in football. That's the basics. That's what you get taught when you start playing 11-a-side football is track your runners. Stay with your man. He's your man for the game. Track your runners. The times, obviously, you passed him on as well, and we'll get into that for the second goal as well. But it's schoolboy. Absolutely abysmal defending.
I think what's most frustrating, Darren, is yes, what you hit the nail on the head. It's schoolboy defending. I know from my time playing and your time playing, we got crucified for it. You had to watch your runners. It's as simple as that. Don't be letting a goal. Your goal comes when it comes, but do not let a goal go in. That's the main task.
Don't give it to them easy, yeah.
And we've kind of been vouching for the defence in the midfield since we've came into the Premier League. That we've been, stacked, you could say, in midfield and the defence and the quality that we have in there, etc. And we've been kind of complaining about the attacking tray. But now it seems to be every department from the defence, even from the goalkeeper position to defence, to the midfield, to the attack, is crumbling slowly and slowly and slowly. And that's the worry. If we were going in a few weeks ago saying, yeah, we might not be great at going forward, but we are good at defending and our midfield is very good, doesn't seem to be the case anymore. It seems to be the other way around. It seems to be every single thing is falling apart.
It feels like every time a team comes forward, they'll have an opportunity to score. When it wasn't so long ago, and especially after that Bournemouth game when we're going into the Spurs game, Dylan, I felt like we defend and we set up really well, and teams are finding it hard to break us down. We were obviously going back to the Arsenal game where it was easy to kind of cut through us. But since that Arsenal game, we felt like we learned a lot from that game. We tightened up at the back. We were defensively solid. We were strong, and we kind of prided ourselves on that as well. That we don't concede many goals, but that's completely gone now, Dylan. It feels like any team that comes forward against us now, we're looking vulnerable at the back, and that's not good, Dylan. When you're looking toothless going forward and you're looking vulnerable at the back, that's all the makeup of of a really bad side at the minute. We'll get into a couple of the comments there, Dylan. We'll just pull a couple of the comments in here because they're flying in here now. Richard Hogan said, I would have expected Notto to be in the squad for the last two games, with the fact that Okafor doesn't seem to be getting through 19 minutes as well. He doesn't seem to be fully fit now, Okafor, so hopefully we can get him there soon as. I hate losing, but Jesus, defend like your life depended on it. All the players need to think King Billy was playing. They would track back, they put a tackle in, run that extra mile, and he demanded it. And that's it. And it comes from the players around you, Ian, doesn't it? To be doing that as well, to track your runner, the willingness to go and do it. We need three at the back to show things up for a game or two. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind going after the two wing backs. That seems like the obvious choice for this Leeds squad. Smarty says conceding the same goals over and over again is very bad. There's a massive disconnect between the midfielders and the defence. And I think I agree with that as well. Then you can see that massively. That there's no sort of communication there, and that was in the second goal. And we're going to go on to the second goal now. Longstaff doesn't track the runner. No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all. And look, Stack has been susceptible of that as well. And Ampadu has done it at times as well. Ampadu has had a tendency of switching off in games now as well. Jonathan says here, for the next 4 games, we have to play 4-4-2 or 3-5-2 or even 5-3-2. Justin Malignant, yeah, exactly, 100% as well. I think he's going to have to change it now. Look, we're going to get on to Daniel Farke and his future, but I think, look, it looks like he's going to be here for the time being anyway, and he's going to be given till after the international break. So I do agree with your point, Jonathan. Absolutely, he needs to change it. I think the 4-3-3 isn't working for Leeds United. Possibly at home, it looks fine. Away from home, we definitely need to look to change it up. So, yeah, agree with you there, Jonathan, buddy. Michael says, hi, bros. Looks like Farke is still with us for a while. Yeah, I'll back him while he's still here, but I feel like you need a change. And I'm the same as well, buddy. Look, I do think it's time to go. I do think the 49ers should make the decision. It doesn't look good. We'll get on to it a little bit more, but I agree with you. As long as he is Leeds United manager, of course, you're going to want him to do well. Dylan, anything else to say on the first goal, or we move on to the second one?
I just think, real quick, it's the same errors that we're having an awful lot. Previous games, same goals, not matching the runners, gone back to Brian, etc. Me personally, from a manager perspective or a former player, obviously amateur, that's something that you should be working on in training.
Yeah.
Clearly, that going forward now into the international break, that's something that we need to work on, lads. Yeah. Very, 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 very possible.
Yeah, definitely, 100%, Dylan. Right, look, we'll get into Nottingham Forest going 2-1 up here, and it comes from a long ball from Morello. A 70-yard crossfield pass, Dylan, and we said about it in the watch-along as well, that's what they were looking for. They were keeping it short and sharp and then looking to change it and get in over Leeds United's full-backs, and they deal with this one. It's just a long, hopeful ball, pumped forward. It goes over the head of Gabby Goodmunson, and then onto the next slide. You see Hutchinson then is at the byline then. And this is the one I think is the worst one for me. This is definitely worse than the first goal. So you have Noah Okafor here, circled in blue. And I think he can get closer, Dylan. He can get closer to Gabby to give him a little bit of a dig out there. Instead of Hutchinson coming back inside, he knows how dangerous he is. He's able to get his cross into the box. But then what's worse, Dylan, circle there in the white. You've got Ampadu and Bial. And Ampadu might be passing Morgan Gibbs White on Taki Bial, but there's no communication whatsoever. So he's free as a board in the box. And again, a runner being allowed to run into our 6-yard box, completely unmarked, completely unscathed. The cross comes into the box. And then this slide just tells everything you need to know. There's Morgan Gibbs White, 6 yards out, free header. And you have 6 Leeds United players in the Leeds United box picking up absolutely nobody. Absolutely nobody. So again, I think that's worse, Dylan. That's worse than the first goal for me.
It's embarrassing. But it's not even worse. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for players of that stature, that build, that charisma that they keep saying that we have. Even down to Ampadu, very disappointed with him the last while. Very disappointed. He's not shown leadership qualities. He's not shown emotion on the pitch. I think when that goal went in, actually, he ran to get the ball and he's doing it again. Too little, too late, trying to rev everyone up, and it's frustrating, Darren. It's very frustrating because if we can see it week in, week out, and this is something we're saying, and me and you are now, we're not professionals at this. We're just fans like anyone else, but we're seeing it week in, week out. Everyone in the chat is seeing it week in, week out. So why isn't Daniel Farke? Why is there no structure? Why is there no change? And most importantly, why is there no plan B? And that's very, very irritating. Just even show me that the blood is boiling. Because as you just said there, 6 Leeds players not marking that man.
Yeah.
3 yards out from the box. From the
6 Leeds players in our box. And there's one of their players free as a board on the 6-yard box. Free header into the back of the net. Really bad. Wayne says here, second goal, Ampadu not tracking his man. Absolutely not. And this is where I was alluding to as well. The disconnect from the midfield to the defence as well. So in a case like that, and I've played both positions. I've played fullback for the time being and I've played midfield as well. So you're able to pass runners on as well. So Gibbs White goes. Bial is free, so he should be telling Haki Bial. And if you actually watch it back live, Bial spots him. He sees Morgan Gibbs White coming in, but for whatever reason, just decides not to pick him up. He decides to just let him completely go free. And the thing about Gibbs White, Dylan, he just peels away. That's all he has to do is just peel away in between the two of them. Not one of them mark him. And it's a great ball into the box from Hutchinson. He causes so much problems, Dylan. They made the changes, and we said it at the time when they brought a Wanley on, Hutchinson and Yates. They really upped the tempo. And for about 5 minutes, Dylan, you could see Nottingham Forest were on top. They were really putting the pressure on Leeds United. We were calling it in the watch-along. All the guys that were in the watch-along were saying the same thing as well. We need to change it here. There's a goal coming for them. And again, it's typical Daniel Farke's story, Dylan. They get the goal, and then we're looking to react to things instead of being proactive and getting ahead of the curve. And Nottingham Forest, their substitutions changed the game.
It's the same bad nightmares, bad dreams. We're like a constant thing in these games. And Darren, I wouldn't mind, and I'm not blowing smoke up you, if that makes sense. You've said it numerous times. Every time when we are probably drawn or down 1-0, you always say now's the time to make the impact, as you said, being proactive. And then all of a sudden then is a goal goes in. But you've said it numerous times, yes, at the watch along. You literally said, I think it was 10 minutes, give or take, and they were up in the tempo. Even before they brought the subs on, they were up in the tempo. And when the subs came on, then they were a little bit more sharper. And you said, I don't feel good about this, lads. Everyone commenting and saying they agree. So if we can see it, as I've said again, how come Daniel Farke can't make the subs early? make it easy on yourself. It's just always hard. And then
Hutchinson was getting so much joy, Dylan, down that left-hand side when he came on. Look, he is a very, very good player, Hutchinson. We know that. We played against him the first year with Daniel Farke when he played with Ipswich. He's a really, really good player. And he's one of them players who's able to go off both sides, right foot, left foot. And he was giving Gabby a horrid time. So this will kind of lead you on into the substitution then, Dylan. After that, then we'll go to the Jack Harrison one first, Dylan, which is one that really had me scratching my head on. At the time when he came on and in the post-match, I didn't understand why he was doing it. James Justin on the bench, who's can play either side of the fullback. You bring Jack Harrison on, then you're probably thinking, right, he probably decided to bring Jack Harrison on in left back because he's going to get the crosses into the box a little bit more. But you have to look at who he's facing up against. He's facing up against a Murray Hutchinson who wants to go that way. He's not going to go. He does want to go back that way. So you're looking at Harrison, and he's someone that's going to have to defend. He's not going to get much opportunity to go forward with a winger like that. So you're looking at Farke and you're kind of thinking, if I know that as an absolute nobody, how doesn't Daniel Farke know that? Look who he's facing up against. So if he wants to make that substitution, and Gabby was absolutely out on his feet, bring James Justin on. Bring a proper fullback on then, or change the system if you want to get a few more attackers going forward. So, it wasn't a good substitution with Daniel Farke. We will get into it because I know you've said it a lot about this thing that Daniel Farke always seems to have when Leeds go 1-0 down, or we're always seem to be up against it, that the plan B is throw as many strikers and forwards on as we possibly can, square pegs into round holes all the time in them. And again, we called it in the watch-along, Dylan, that if we do go 2-1 down when it was 1-1, that's when you'll see the substitution. You'll see Calvert-Lewin, you'll see Pirro, you'll see James, you see them all come on, and we can read it like a book, and Sean Dyche can as well.
Yeah, and it seems to be a thing with Daniel Farke that it's kind of like, right, it didn't work. Now I need to do it and pushing the panic button. But no plan B, just chucking everyone on. And when I seen Jack Harrison coming on before he was replaced by Gabby, I thought he was going to go on the midfield side. I thought Gabby wasn't going to come off. So when I seen that, I was saying maybe he's changing the formation. I think, look, he obviously did to a certain degree, but they were still playing 4 at the back. And when, we seen it in Dublin with the friendly against AC Milan. Immediately, straight around, me and you looked at each other. Why is he playing left back?
He's not a fullback.
Don't get me wrong. When you look at it from a friendly perspective, you're going, is he just getting minutes in the legs? Is he just trialing it? If friendly's a friendly and you can do these sort of things, not in a Premier League. We haven't seen enough of him to play left back. He's not a left back. He's what would you say, a midfielder that can whip a ball in. That's all he is. I'm sorry, it's the truth. I'm not mad about Jack Harrison. I never was. And just on a personal side from it, the stuff that he's done to us in the past, etc., to come back and want to win the fans back over, I don't know about anyone else, but me, I'd have that bit between my teeth. I'd want to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done it. And then
ahead,
you bring on, fair enough, sorry, I just wanted to say about DCL and Pirro. I was quite happy with that because that's something that we've been constantly saying.
Yep.
We want Pirro to play off DCL, so I was really pleased to see that happen. When it did happen, to be fair, I thought Pirro was dropping very deep. You said it in the watch along. I thought Stack was actually higher than Pirro.
He was like a deep line midfielder. Then we had Anton Stack further forward than Pirro. Pirro was coming so deep to pick up the ball, and then you're thinking, here's a striker that can put the ball in the back of the net, clinical. Absolutely, I think his 40 championship goals he had over the 2 seasons with Leeds United, and we have him playing as a deep line midfielder. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. We get into this comment here from Emmett. He says, I think Farke is a specialist manager of getting teams out of the championship. When we sack him, he'll have plenty of offers of championship offers. All the best to him, and I think so as well. And I seen a tweet today which actually made me chuckle a little bit. Said he's the German Neil Warnock. He's great at getting teams out of the Premier League, but once he gets to the Premier League, he's no good here. So that was a class one. I enjoyed that one. It was very funny. Michael says, towards with the back three, we started to dominate. We create chances, but Farke won't start like that, buddy. I think now he has it drilled into his head now, the 4-3-3, and I wouldn't say he's going to change. Dylan, we were speaking a little bit there about Jack Harrison. We obviously get a little bit sidetracked, but look, there's a bit of a debate going on that potentially this isn't a penalty. For me, lads, it's a stonewall penalty, and especially nowadays as well. Hutchinson reads Harrison like a book. He knows if he gets goal side, all he has to do is cut across him, dangle a leg, and he's gone down. And it's silly from Jack Harrison. This is what leads me on to Dylan, that he's not a fullback. This just shows you, in this instance, if you play fullback, you know not to go near your man. You let him kind of get the run on you, get goal side. Jack Harrison is well too overzealous. He clips him, he takes him down. For me, it's a stonewall penalty. And then you know what's happening there. Ellie Anderson steps up and dispatches it. It's 3-1, and it's game over before then anyway. But Jack Harrison was silly in that case. But then you look at Daniel Farke there, that he's the one that made that substitution and decided to put a winger at left back, and the one that gives away the penalty. It didn't make sense at the time. Doesn't make sense now for me.
I'm the first person to turn around and give the stick to Jack Harrison. I've said that. I've been vocal about that. You kind of brought me back down to earth to say, well, it's not sincerely all the blame on Jack Harrison. We know he's not a left back. We know he can't defend. It wasn't his choice.
Yeah.
You look at the manager. So I think all around it was just a bad substitution to make at that time for me in general. You know, whether Gabby was, needed to come off. You've said it yourself, why don't you bring, even James Justin on? You've Sam Byram there as well. There's cover. We were so vocal in the transfer window about cover in certain scenarios.
Yeah,
Jack Harrison wasn't one of them. So it just baffles me. I have to laugh, if I'm being completely honest with you, because it's just simply embarrassing. It's embarrassing to even steep to that level to go, you know what, we're going to bring a midfielder on and play him at left back. He's just not. He's just not good enough. He's not good enough in midfield either. So why did we spend, was it 5 million on James Justin if you're not going to bring him on? And to be quite honest with you,
it was 10, wasn't it? 10. I think it was, it was 10 million.
Every time.
Yeah, I think it was
every
8.5 or something, and add-ons or some shit like that, but it was the 10 million mark, yeah.
Every time James Justin has came on the pitch, I've been impressed. I'm not saying overly impressed, but he's done a job, and
he's a fullback. You spend 10 million quid on him, Dylan. You spend 10 million quid on him in the summer, which arguably that 10 million was taken over at Keaty, which obviously stopped us getting an attacking forward. But then you leave him sitting on the bench. You've got Borneo, who hasn't touched the ball and is injured now again. 5 million. We're going to get a little bit onto the recruitment as well. So the whole lot of it doesn't align, Dylan, for me. That's the concerning thing as well. It all doesn't seem aligned from the players to the manager to the board. They're all not in tandem, and that's a real issue. We've seen this the last time in the Premier League when that issue was there as well. So, yeah. Jonathan says, Deutsch knew full well Farke wouldn't make substitutions till the 70th minute. Therefore, he took his advantage, 60-minute subs, whipped the life out of us, and then adapted and subs. And yeah, of course he did. Absolutely did. He rolled the dice first, and then again, look at Farke's. You don't mind if you react then to his subs immediately. So, but they had a period of passage of play for about 5 minutes after they made the substitutions, and Leeds were non-existent in the game. We couldn't get the ball. We made Forest look like Barcelona. That's when you're looking at Daniel Farke to make the subs, be proactive. Don't wait. It's not going to change. And ultimately, look at they get the goal, and then he decides to make his substitutions when it's far too late. Matt says here, yes, let's bring a winger on, a fullback, not James Justin, who could come on for a good months in before and played well. He has came on before for good months, and he obviously has been good as well. So I don't understand why the situation happened with Jack Harrison. There was no need for it. Dylan, look at, obviously that's the game all the way, because I thought it was important to talk about the game as well and not just come on tonight and speak about Daniel Farke and whether you want them sacked or you don't want them sacked, or the 49ers or whatever it may be. I think it was important to talk about the game as well, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for. But we move on to Daniel Farke now as well, Dylan. So obviously his post-match, you could see, if anyone watches it on LUTV, if you haven't, go back and watch it. He's very uncomfortable. He's very jittery. He's very kind of stands there. He's tall. He looks like a confident man. He's very jittery. He's looking all over the place. He knows he got it wrong. He knows he's under a little bit of pressure. But his main post-match after it, Dylan, he was asked obviously about the situation with Dan James, and then he went on to say about Leeds fans, that Leeds fans are emotional. I don't think that's a bad thing, Dylan. That really irked me when I seen that comment when he was saying about Leeds fans are emotional, like there's something wrong with that. I'm proud of the Leeds fans. I'm proud to be emotional, and that shows passion for our football club. There's nothing wrong with us being emotional. And we have every right to be emotional after watching what happened on the pitch.
He's alluded to it in numerous press conferences. Whether it's been the championship last season, whether it's been this season. I think it's a silly comment to keep repeating yourself in a scenario where you know that you got it wrong. And I'd rather someone, that's... He's the main man. He's steering the ship. Just be completely honest with us. Just completely honest. I got it wrong. I know you can't turn around, well, this was person, and I made that mistake, and he wasn't great, and I shouldn't have done this, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to come out and be completely honest. I should have made the subs a little bit early. Injuries, etc. Don't make excuses. There's no point in making excuses, because we can clearly see it. We're all not stupid. We're all not dumb. If anyone that follows football, anyone that knows football, and anyone that knows and gets Leeds United will understand. So for him to come out with a comment to say, more or less, get over yourselves, he's our panic. That's the way I took it. I'm being completely honest with you. is ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. If we aren't passionate about our football club, we wouldn't have great nights like that. Yeah, one just came off the top of my head that time in Leicester in the Championship. I predict the Roy came on. The whole stadium went bonkers.
But you
That's
had one
passion.
man,
So
Dylan,
what's
that
the
was here.
difference?
Bielsa loved it. Bielsa loved the
They're-
emotion. Many times the Bielsa saying about the emotion of the fans, and it's all about the feeling of the fans, and that's what we're all here for as well. So, yeah, it commented as well. I felt like you look at Farke, just quit while you're ahead at the minute. You're digging your own grave here. I didn't like what he said that, and I think Leeds fans have every right to be emotional after a game like that, and especially what you're seeing at Brighton, especially what we're seeing at Burnley. It hasn't been good enough. Hasn't been good enough away from home, Dylan. But when you look at our away record, Dylan, this season, 6 games away from home. Only 1 win, that was against Wolves, and we know the position that they're in. 5 losses, only 4 goals scored on the road, and 15 goals conceded, Dylan. Oh, it's not good. It's not good, and it feels like every time Leeds United now are playing away from home, it just feels like the inevitable. It feels like, what's the point? We're going to lose this at the minute.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and I think that kind of brings us back to the situation. When you're talking about the defence and the midfield, we've been highly speaking of it. I know 4 goals, fair enough. When you look at the other end, it's 15 down that end.
Yeah,
really not good. Really not good at all.
Yeah, so something has to change, and like again, you see it popping off on Twitter as well. You've got a lot of people saying, "Well, our home record is decent. We're good away from home." I don't think we can solely rely on being at home as well, because all the big boys still have to come to Elland Road as well. So, yeah, and you're looking at that, and I know, look, at anything can happen in football, but we're not going to win them all, and you need to pick up a couple of points on the road as well. And to do it just against the likes of Wolves, it's not good enough. But we've lost to Burnley, Dylan. We've lost to Forest, the teams that are in around us as well, and that's something that I kind of look for going into this season. That when you come up against the big boys, it's a free hit. If you beat them, happy days. You get a draw, happy days. You more or less expect to lose them. But it's them teams that are going to be in around that and are going to be amongst us that you expect to go and beat. And I know we bet West Ham and Wolves. I don't think they were particularly great. Fulham obviously weren't fantastic as well. They're down there with us. But Forest and Burnley, Dylan, it's really bad. It's really bad, especially because they're there and amongst the with us.
It's performance again, there, performance levels. We've said it before. I think it was maybe after the Brighton game. You can be upset and probably deflated over a loss, but it's the way we're losing. It's the performance itself. There's no fight and no ambition in any of the team, which brings you back to put Farke aside here for a second. Ethan Ampadu. I'm sorry, I have to be completely honest. He is the leader of the team. He's the captain, as you'd like to say, and he should be revving players up regardless from the first whistle to the final whistle. Not matching his runners, not showing commitment and tackles, not following his runners. We've said that before.
Completely switching off.
And is there a possibility and a conversation to have? To maybe change the captaincy? It's not going to happen. But I mean, if he can't get the players revved up at the start of a game, why bother doing it at the end of the game? You're losing 3-1.
Yeah,
and he's done it against.
I look across this team, Dylan, because it has been brought up as well. Again, people saying does Ampadu be stripped of the captaincy because he's not leading this team like he was in the opening games? But then I look around this team, Dylan, and I don't really see any leaders. Like Joe Rodon is probably one that sticks out. Strike has had it before, but I don't think he's particularly a talker or a shouter or a commander in there. Ampadu was doing, and as I said, the drop off in that midfield, Dylan, has been particularly poor. And it's not just Ampadu. I look at Longstaff as well. He's definitely dropped below his levels. Anton Stack can't seem to get back from what we've seen at the Wolves game at all. He's completely dropped off as well. So it's a real issue, Dylan. But look at overall, the question is obviously there. We were a massive supporter of Farke. We backed him and backed him and backed him. I'm at the case, and I don't want to put words in your mouth or anyone else's mouth, but I'm at the scenario now with them where I just feel like I can't back Daniel Farke anymore. It's the same stuff that we're seeing all the time, the same tactics. You can nearly write the game. You can write exactly what way the game is going to go away from home. So me personally, I just can't back him anymore. I can't defend him anymore. I do think it's time for a change. Look, we hear from Graham Smith in the YEP, he put it out that it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the 49ers. Are still behind him. They're still backing him. So look, it's Villa up now again next after the international break, Dylan. Again, it's another big game. It's at home. If he wins that, will that pull some people back on side, or is it just too little too late?
I think, sorry for repeating myself again, but I think it's down to performances there, if I'm being honest with you. If we win against Villa and it's a scrappy goal, or it's, we just basically got the points, we didn't play well at all and we got the points to get out of there, you'll have half of the fan base saying, well, we got the win against Villa. But then you have half the fan base going, yeah, but we didn't play well. We didn't play well at all. So it's not necessarily, if he loses against Villa and loses the next game, I can't see him being here.
Yeah.
I think he has to go. He really does have to go. But if you're getting a run of games where he's picking up 1 or 2 points along the way, draws,
Yeah.
a win here or there.
That's why
then,
I think if we got to draw a Forest, like as much as you want all three, it kind of again it stems that bleeding from off the back of the Brighton one. But again, it's the performance level drop well below par, and they haven't been there, Dylan. And I'm kind of thinking like, right, if we do it now over the international break, you have a really tough run of fixtures then for any manager to come into this situation for Leeds United. And I'm not saying them well and that warrants keeping Daniel Farke, but it's a really shitty time. It's a good time and it's an international break, but right now where Leeds find themselves, it's a really shitty time to sack the manager, because you bring anyone in, that run of fixtures, more likely they're going to lose them games, and then he's already backs against the wall then. So I'm trying to find a way around what's the best decision for Leeds United to do. There's a part of me saying stick with them until after the international break. Let's see. Let's hope it goes well. If we can get ourselves to January, see what way we are then, and then maybe change the manager, get someone in, and try and get a bit of recruitment on to coin keep us safe in the second part of the season. Then there's a part of me now just changing now and let the new manager come in and get himself bedded in. But I can't make a decision. But there's one thing I'm definite on. I do think it's time for Daniel Farke to go. I think the 49ers have to do it.
I was the same when they scored their first goal. Same thing to Brighton. Sorry for going back to this. At half time, we were all kind of saying we still have a fighting chance. We can still get our way back into this game. You move forward. If you were to sack Daniel Farke, the next manager to come in, is he going to get the same out of the players? Is he going to get more? Are we going to wait till January, where we know we're not going to sign anyone with real quality? January is already hard as it is to get players in. So you're looking at the loan market, hoping for another Solomon to just stay in this league.
Yeah,
we're screwed either way. What happens here? I'm not saying that we're going down. What I'm saying is it's not good at the minute. So either Farke tries his best to stop being, I was going to say something else there, stubborn, and change what he needs to be changed and what we can all see that needs to be changed, and start playing to player strengths, i.e. Joel Pirro, i.e. you might as well say the three in midfield. I know you said it yesterday in the Forest game. You think that you needed the three in there. It didn't work. It hasn't worked against Brighton. We don't need the three in midfield.
Didn't work against Burnley away.
It doesn't work. It's just not working. They all feel maybe a structure in place where the three in midfield, they ain't going to get by, or we have this held. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way one bit. So maybe play with three at the back. Maybe play with wing backs. Shake it up. Start utilising players' performances and utilising rotation of the squad. And he hasn't done it.
Mr. Whitesnake says here, getting another manager in who, it's anyone's guess, buddy, and have been asked myself the question as well, who. And I feel like it shouldn't be a case that because you haven't got an answer of what manager should come in to replace Daniel Farke, that warrants not sacking the manager either. So I'm very much split of, who comes in, when we do it, should we do it now? But I'm definitely along the lines that I think we should. We should do it now, and then it's up to the board and the recruitment to go get the right manager. I'm hoping that they've planned for this situation. I'm hoping that they're ahead of plans, that if they do pull the trigger after the international break, that there's a plan lined up and a progression plan for someone to come in and take this team forward for the next couple of years. That's what I'm hoping. Am I confident in that? No, because if you look exactly what the 49ers have done at Rangers, when Russell Martin went in there, I'm a big watcher of the Scottish League. When Russell Martin went into Rangers, I was looking at him the outset going, I don't think that's a good appointment. I don't think that's going to work there. And it didn't. It didn't. And they waited and they waited and waited. They let that drag on with Russell Martin far too long from what he should have, until it nearly got nasty, where Russell Martin had to be escorted out of a stadium then for fans trying to get to him. Now, they let it go on far too long. And then you look at then, after sacking Russell Martin, the shit show that they went through trying to bring Steven Gerrard back in, Muscat back in, and then eventually they've settled on Danny Roll. And that was a long, drawn-out period as well. So that's what I look at, that I don't want that to happen to Leeds United. If we're going to push the trigger on Daniel Farke, someone has to come in immediately. There has to be a plan there. So we have to be somehow topping up managers, talking to managers behind the scenes that we're going to pull the trigger on Daniel Farke. There's a plan in place, not the shit that's 4, 5, 6 games of, Scott Gardner from the under 21s taking this Leeds United side then on into them games. So there has to be a plan in place, I think, if Leeds United are going to do it. That's the only thing I would want, Dylan.
I have to agree, Darren. It seems to be a thing, though, with Leeds. We hold on too much. And to be honest with you, I knew waking up this morning nothing was going to be said. I was talking to a cousin of mine and a guy in work, and he was like, Jesus, I thought you would have sacked his manager yesterday. I thought the way it was real hostile. I could see.
Yeah.
I seen videos on YouTube, etc. And in the back of my head, I said, no, that's just not Leeds. It's not in Leeds to do that. with that being said, as I've said, if a new manager was to come in, I can't see how it gets any better. But also, I can't see how it gets any worse. So it's certainly a gamble to take. But yeah, I have to agree, Darren. You know, if you're letting it prolong, we lose against Villa, we lose against whatever city, and you know you're kind of going into that Christmas period. No one's going to enjoy it. Not anyone at home, not us, and certainly not the team. So you know, if they're looking along the lines, let's just see what we can until we get to January and we get players in. That's not good enough either. The players, what we have, is what we have. The 49ers made their beds and they need to sleep in it. And they need to do it in the right narrative. So if they're going to sack a manager to bring someone else in, and then we still don't get the performances or the results, then it's on the 49ers.
Yeah.
It's as simple
Well,
as that.
they don't go, Dylan. They don't go. Like we spoke about this prior to Forest, and we said they're not dissolved of any blame either, Dylan. The 49ers are very much to blame at the exact same level as Daniel Farke.
Of course.
The recruitment, look, we've obviously touched on it. The recruitment was really bad. Looking back at it now, Bial 15 million, don't think he's up to it. Bornell 5 million, not even getting a kick of the ball. James Justin 10 million, can't even get brought on ahead of Jack Harrison in the game yesterday in his position. The recruitment's been very poor. Daniel Farke asked for 2 attacking players in the last week of the window. He gets absolutely nobody. So this is where you look at the 49ers going, what's going on with the recruitment? It doesn't feel aligned from the way that Daniel Farke wants to play and his tactics to what was brought in. We were all saying it in the summer that we're getting everyone in over 6 foot, big lads, profile of anywhere between 25 to 28, over 6 foot. And we were saying, right, we're going to be big bastard FC. We're going to be trying to, you know, fucking close people down, long balls into the box, you know what I mean? A lot more attacking. And we're not, we're still trying to play the way that we played last season. So it's not aligning the recruitment of what they've done and the way Daniel Farke is setting up his teams. It's not aligning. And that's what I think the issue is here with me now. And now Daniel Farke he said himself that he has the final say on transfers. I don't know how true it is. That's why he said himself, so you can only go off by what he's saying. But clearly he wanted better players, better quality players. When you even look at what we did brought in, the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Dylan, that wasn't planned. That felt like a panic to me.
No, that wasn't.
It felt like an absolute panic to me. They knew they wanted to get rid of Patrick Bamford. That came very late in the window. And it felt like that Calvert-Lewin became available. They're like, right, we jump on it because we have nothing else. That definitely wasn't a planned situation. Lucas Metcho, I think, was definitely a plan on that. Look, that's a nice free. He's someone there that could be useful in the Premier League. And then Calvert-Lewin then came about. You've Harry Wilson then the final day of the window, which I don't care what anyone says. That was not planned. That was a panic again. It was actually helter-skelter. Let's go and try to get Harry Wilson. Pay 7 million, full him onto 10. We put in transfer papers. It was never going to happen. Send the plane. And then take a late swoop down for Gus Hamer. So it all felt very chaotic, especially after Peugeot. Right up into Peugeot, I thought we were doing really well. We had a structure in place. We had a plan. We looked like we thought out what we wanted to do. And then after Peugeot, Dylan, it just completely fell to shit. We put all our eggs in that basket. That didn't come off, and then after that, we had absolutely no direction, and I think that's led us to this point as well. And recruitment nowadays is absolutely massive. It's massive in football. And there's one thing: the manager and the recruitment team have to be aligned of the way that he wants to approach games and the way that he wants to play. And for me, they're not, and that's an issue, a massive issue.
It's a big issue, and you know, even certain players, like you could say Harry Gray. You know, I'm not saying we need to bring him on. What I'm saying is there's a lot of noise coming around him. Sorry for going off track here, but what I'm trying to get here is someone that knows the club. He's only young. He's hungry.
Biala's Harry Maguire 2.0, see milk turn quicker. That broke up. That gave a nice outfield with there, Dylan, because I got under the collar there. Oh, go ahead, Dillo. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, you know, you sign Harry Gray on a professional deal. I'm not saying start him. I'm saying give the lad a run out. You know, how worse can it get? We're not utilising the players at all. You know, at times you've said it in previous videos, you look at the bench and you can't really blame Farke. He hasn't got a whole lot to work with. I get that.
Yeah.
But don't be, you know, getting the first goal to an equaliser from them. Make the subs early. You know, someone said in the comments that Deutsch knew what he was doing. He made the subs a little bit earlier. Fresh legs. They were at it when they came into the game. Jack Harrison wasn't when he came on. You could see that clearly because he gave away a penalty. So, but, you know, as you said, you can't really blame the 49ers. It's a wholesome thing. It really is a team thing here. From the board all the way down to Daniel Farke. It's not good at the minute. Whether it's the budget, whether it's the recruitment side of it, tactics, man management, no plan B. It's just all at the minute very, very up in the air.
Yeah, needs to be sorted out big time. Gomez Gang says he knew his budget and distributed it badly. How many of his signings in which he fully responsible for, say, in these signings have improved the team? I don't. Who was improved? I like Gabby. I do like the look of Gabby. I do
Yeah,
think
Gabby is good, to be fair.
do think Gabby is good. I do think there's a player in there. Stack looks like he has it, but he's completely dropped off. Longstaff did. He's dropped off as well. But then again, you look to the likes of Bial, 15 million. Like, it just at the minute, it looks like it's completely thrown away. I called before the Forest game to take him back out because I thought he was very poor against Brighton. I thought he was pulling Joe Road on all over the place against Brighton. He done the exact same thing yesterday as well. And I'm not saying Stroke is 100 times better and he's the answer to bring him back in, but we looked a little bit better with Stroke in there. So, Bial, for me, from what we've seen from him, he has been good. Even that game against Sheffield Wednesday, where they were all particularly bad, I thought he was bad in that game as well. But not once has he put on a lead short. He could turn around and say that was a decent performance for him today. So that's an issue for a player that costs £15 million. Borneo as well. Obviously, look at whatever's going on with him as well. It stinks. Dylan. It absolutely stinks.
You might as well just be driving down the M1 there with a load of cash and just start throwing it out the window, because that's all you've done. But
and Ian Ward says the same thing here as well. That, and this obviously leads on then to the outcomes of 4 keepers. Meslier here, we were obviously offered whatever it was for Meslier to go, and Robbie Evans comes out and says, "Oh, we felt it's better if he stays here." But yeah, he's able to negotiate a transfer now over here in January. So we've shot ourselves in the foot with that as well. The outgoing side of things have been particularly poor as well. So let's be honest, this team is absolutely filled with championship level players and probably a championship level manager. And in the Premier League, it's just not going to wash. Felt like we tried to do it on the cheap. Felt like we tried to be a little bit too smart, a little bit too cautious. And the chickens are coming home to roost at the minute.
I love
buck,
that.
Buck.
Sorry, I love that. Honestly, that just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the outgoings there, and even down to Joseph. Don't get me wrong. What he wanted to move, he got his move. Ramazani. One that really irks me is obviously the Jack Harrison one, Max Wober. Why, Meslier, why are these in this team? Yeah. Good luck, pay them off, do what you need to do, get them out here. They're only just a negative impact on the club. They're bad vibes. Good luck.
Well, no, then like they're very much in line with the PSR side of things. But then you look at the Patrick Bamford situation. It's definitely one for another day as well. Like that whole situation as well. 49ers. Why would you buy players for him in January transfer window when he doesn't use at least third of his players that he's already here? That's a fair point. And absolutely fair point. Can't disagree with you. Absolutely not. Yeah, really good point, buddy. Yeah, look, I'm on it. I'm on the Farke train. I think get him out now. I think change it now. I don't know who to bring in. Bring in Sally the tea lady and see if she can do any better.
I agree with that.
What's he say? This team is so easy to change. Our squad is crying out for 3 at the back, 5 in midfield. I think so as well. And I'd like to see Pirro get a run of games. I think with Calvert-Lewin being injured, and I know Metcha scored yesterday, but I think with Calvert-Lewin being injured, I think that was an opportunity to try and get Joe Pirro back into this team as well.
He's hungry, lads. I'm telling you, he's hungry. You can see it by him when he comes up. No, Pirro. You can see it by him. You really can, Darren. He didn't do a whole lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm just seeing it from what I seen last year in the championship. That's same type of hunger when he came on for Joseph. You know, we've seen it with who wants the short. It was given back. You know, etc. He started banging in goals. Is he Premier League quality? We do not know. I'm not saying he anyway is. I love him at what he done last season. Obviously, my opinions will change. We need to utilise him, lads. He's a goal scorer. Yeah. We need to utilise him. But then on the other side is you're saying 15 goals have gone in. So maybe we need to sort that out first, because that's meant to be our comfort zone as the defence, as you would like to say, and it's simply not at the minute. Yeah. Get into a few more of the comments here, guys. Keep your comments in. We'll try and get as many as we possibly can. We could have built a better team with the ostracized players who Farke shipped out. Yeah, probably. Look how well most of them are doing now as well. Seasiders TV says, what do you think of putting Ampadu with Rodon as centre-back? Take advantage of their relationship and give Tanaka regular minutes in centre-mid to link with the midfield to the attack. Yeah, it's definitely an option. It's an option. But I don't think it'll be happening. He needs that Ampadu in midfield to break up play. Not that he's doing it. It one bit. We've seen it last season. But look, I'm all for it. I think it'd be a great idea. But I think
you're more or less. I think if Ampadu, if he does do that and Ampadu goes back to centre half, then you're more or less saying that Bial isn't good enough. a £15 million sign that you brought in the summer to be that cover. And I think that's what they planned for, was to Ampadu to be a midfielder. So if they do that, that's basically turning around saying that Bial isn't good enough and he doesn't trust Stroke either.
Exactly. 15 million
so
down the washer.
Yeah, I don't know if he does it. Stacking the 6, yeah, I think he would be better in the 6 because he's doing that role that he's definitely not used to, trying to be that link between midfield, and I don't think he can do it. In some games, he could probably get away with it over the course of the Premier League season. I don't think he can. Stevie Lee says, smash a like. Please, guys, please do that. I forgot to say that. Please make sure to drop a like on the video, guys. Really does help us out. Ampadu centre back in the Prem gets torn apart. Yeah, maybe. I'm very vulnerable now at the minute, Dylan. You know that? I'm very vulnerable at the minute for all these situations and scenarios and ifs and buts.
I need to see Tanaka back in this team, lads. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, Dylan. I do. Ampadu is not Premier League centre back. Haaland, Gokares, Ekatike. You'll get mauled. Jesus Christ. The thoughts of Erling Haaland running our defence and midfield, like, oh my God, that's a City game is going to be horrendous.
6 out the corner of my neck.
Lack creativity, no communication, lack leadership on the pitch, no fight. The whole team looked lost, no confidence. Would you say, Dylan? Because I was trying to think about this today. I don't think over the start of the season, I don't think he's lost the dressing room. But over the last couple of performances, do you think that the players are starting to not trust on what he's trying to do and they might have lost a little bit? I don't think the relationship is broken down, but I think the belief from the players are maybe broken down a little bit.
Someone said it at the Brighton game in the comments. I can't remember who it was. And it made me stop and think. And I remember when I went off, it was actually the missus. She said, well, what are you thinking about? And I was like, that comment, I can't remember who it was, a legend, whoever it was. And they got me thinking. And that was something that I started kind of, it was on my mind all night when I went to bed. I was kind of saying, he's had to lose in the dressing room. Yeah, as you said, not on a we want you gone sort of scenario. They're not believing in what he's given them or what he's showing them or what he wants them to play in. That was the more or less the comment. And then, as I said, I've been thinking about it ever since. And that's why, I'm not saying I'm being big-headed here, but that's why I've been going for low-scoring games. I haven't been saying Leeds are going to win. I just don't feel it. There's no fight. There's no desire in anything that we've had. And going back to the West Ham game, I've said it religiously, lads. West Ham were poor. They were so bad. And I think that's why we won that game.
I think we caught them at a good time as well, Dylan, to be honest, because you look what Nuno's done. They're ticking now. They really are ticking. So I think that West Ham game came at a good time for Leeds United. And even at that, Dylan, far completely against what the whole fan base was saying. I thought first half against West Ham we were brilliant. We had our foot on their throats. Second half we backed off and we nearly threw the game away. They very, very nearly came back into it, and it was very shaky, very nervous, Elland Road, towards the end of that game, and it should have never been like that. But it feels like he's overly cautious still and all the time. And he obviously spoke about DJ as well, you know, about his situation, and he didn't want to risk him. But at times, Dylan, you have to take a risk, don't you, as well? Like, because we don't have any ball carriers, we don't have any creativity apart from Noah Okafor, and he can't carry the torch for this team all through the season. So that has to be a time where you need to take a little bit of a gamble and maybe change it up. And I think Forest was the prime time to do it, because against the likes of City and Chelsea and Arsenal, I mean, that can go either ways. But against the teams around you, I think that's when you take the gamble.
But against these little teams, no disrespect, I'm not saying Forest is a little team at all, but you know what I mean. You're talking about the top 6 clubs. We had went out with a squad like that, we would have got absolutely demolished. If that had been Man City yesterday, it would have been good luck. Embarrassing. You go back to Arsenal. We took the hit. After that, Farke changed. He accepted what went wrong. He wasn't going to be that rollover and get his belly tickled, as you'd like to say. But I mean, he bounced back from that. He changed, and we did. We could see an improvement. But now, it's the same goals going in every time, and we're not working on it in training. We're not marking our runners, so
conceding the same goal as well. Jamie's right there here. Farke needs to go. Harrison at left back, left wing back is a scary decision to make. This is what it led to, lads. Someone that's not a left back, you decide to put him in left back against Amari Hutchinson, and like that, horrendous decision. Absolutely horrendous decision for Daniel Farke to do that. I don't know where we go from here, Dylan. I feel it needs a change, and obviously the board aren't going to sack themselves. They aren't going to get rid of all the players, so naturally the buck stops with the manager. So that's where you have to go from. But there is a part of me that feels sorry from Dylan. I don't want to sit here and bash him and say that he hasn't been back. So the board do have to take the blame as well, 100%. But ultimately, I don't think Farke is getting the tune out of him as what the players could do.
Yeah, well, I think what frustrates me about Farke and why he needs to go is there's no
Sorry.
plan B.
Thanks, lad. You're really making me feel better. Starting to believe none of this squad are good enough. Sorry, Bosh. Just facts.
No, I think what annoys me about Farke, and as you said there, on another reason that why I need him to go, is not because of just results. It's simply his team selection, his game management, and no plan B. And then, as you said there, bringing Jack Harrison on a left back is like ludicrous. It's madness. Like you do that. Like if you were playing FIFA and you simulated a game, that wouldn't happen. So why would you do that in real life? So I think that's the reason why. It's just the ludicrous decisions that he's making, but not so much on the performances, because the players can only get so much done on the pitch, and they haven't, and that's where the board comes into it, of the recruitment side. So.
Do you know what baffles me as well, Dylan? Like, it was around the timing of the substitutions as well. So obviously Forest made theirs, they went 2-1 up, that's fine. So we obviously then decided to put on Joe Pro, Calvert-Lewin and Dan James. So we made that substitution around the 74th, 75th minute, and you're like, right, grand. And then in the 82nd minute, then he decides to change it again. So, like, in the space of them couple of minutes, what did Daniel Farke see in the space of 2 or 3 minutes that he said, all right, now I need to stick Jack Harrison down on left back and stick Pascal Struijk centre back? What happened in them 4 or 5 minutes that he's changed? Could he not have to change all 5 in one go? It didn't feel rational what he was doing, the decision making. It just felt like, all right, this isn't working either. Let's throw someone else on 4 minutes later. It just feels all panicky.
I think he was expecting Jack Harrison to be, similar to Gabby, that kind of threat going forward when he needs to be. Like we seen it, Gabby's run yesterday, Darren. Unreal. It was an unbelievable run. Me and you sounded like we were in the Cheltenham Festival, narrating horses. Like
Gabby looked forward. He looked good when he was getting forward.
And I think that's why, because Struijk, when he comes out from the back, he has time. He can pick out passes. He can put it in over the top if he needs to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can see where he goes, because as I said, Jack Harrison at left back was just madness, but I think I can understand what he was trying to do, but it's just madness. Like,
I do. I'm not saying I didn't at the time. He definitely tried to put Jack Harrison on at left back because he knew he was going to try and put the ball in the box. But you have to look of when you're putting a player on the pitch, who's he up against? Who's his opponent? Who's he marking? And his man was a Murray Hutchinson, a player that can go left foot, right foot, that is going to be trickery. That's going to be one to go the other way, and Jack Harrison needs to get back and do the defending the other side. So it didn't make sense in what he was going to try and do, and we didn't have enough of the ball. We didn't have all the possession to turn around and say that Jack Harrison didn't have to do that defending against Murray Hutchinson. So it's poor, really, really poor. Steve says, I support Leeds United, and whoever the manager is, we all know that we would lose more games than we would win. There are no easy games in this league. The last 2 were disgraceful. Yeah, agree. That's everything there in the head, and I will be as well. Even how bad it got with Farke recently and after the Brighton when I backed them as well, and I wanted them to do well, and I still do. Look, it looks like they aren't going to make any decision. I was expecting to probably see a decision this morning, to be honest with you. They didn't do it, so that's probably telling us he's going to be here after the international break for that Villa game. But he goes into that game, and I'll support Leeds United the exact same way. I want Daniel Farke to do well, but I think that would probably be the game, Dylan. That's the writing on the wall. It's at home. It's Elland Road. If you lose that, that's our one kind of saving grace at the minute, isn't it? Where we say Elland Road is kind of, our fortress. If we lose that to Villa, Dylan, they have to do it there and then after the game. Before it turns nasty, and that's what the last thing I wanted. I don't want it to turn nasty.
It's
and
just
then,
negative.
Trying to pick up the pieces. Like after March, they left it well too late after March, and it felt like after that we were trying to pick up the pieces after Jesse March for the rest of the season, and then we all know how it spiraled as well. So there's a very fine line of being proactive and reactive, and we all talk about Daniel Farke that we want them to be proactive, and I want the same for the 49ers as well. I want them to be proactive. Don't react when it's too late, when it's already gone and we can't revive our season. So my thoughts would be now is change it now.
Has to be changed. I think if they had made a statement, say tonight, and you're bringing a new manager in, that's 2 whole weeks. I'm not saying it's a whole lot of time, but it's more time that we need as possible. So if they were to bring a new manager in, now's the time to do it. If after Villa we lose and then they sack, they should sack. Sorry, I'll be all for it then. I'll be really, really annoyed. Then you're just throwing a manager in there trying to catch up on training, trying to, drill certain things into certain players, new formation, new tactics, etc. So, it's looking like they're going to keep him. If they were to do it, they need to do it today.
Yeah, needs to be gone as well. Ian says here, they hadn't put the ball in the box all game, and Longstaff free kick. Talk to me through that awful one. Yeah, that was one that really irked me as well. And again, because we've brought in all these big signings to try and put the ball in the box, and Longstaff tries to play a short one and hits off his man. So I think that probably showed the confidence of the players and what the feeling is around as well, that to do something like that, it's put the ball in the box, especially when your centre halves come all that way forward to then try and play a short ball. It didn't make sense what he was trying to do.
Madness.
Mr. Whitesnake's here. What would I change if I could turn back time? I would not have brought the players in that they did. Absolutely. And it's hindsight, lads, isn't it? This is the thing about football as well. At the time, you think they're making the right decision and he looks like a good player and, he's going to do bits for Leeds United. And then you get to see them play and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have brought him. Should have changed this, should have changed that. And hindsight is a great thing. Look at Graham Smith on the square ball. He said that he doesn't see Farke going. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And he did say that, in fairness, that, the vibe that they were getting in the YEP is that he's staying put. But it doesn't mean it doesn't change, Danny. It doesn't mean that that's it. The Farke's here for the rest of the season. Another bad loss, another bad performance against Villa. I think then the writing's there. And the 49ers have to tread a very tight line because at the moment, they're just about hanging on. If they are hanging on to any sort of credibility from the Leeds fan base, if they let this roll on too long, well then, there'll be just as much anger pointed at them, Dylan, as there will be Daniel Farke to let this go on so long. So they have a fine line and a fine decision to make as well before it turns nasty.
But I think when you look at it in hindsight, it's what you said, the certain teams that we're playing against, Forest, fair enough, Villa are a good side, but the Forest one in general. So if they hadn't made a decision yesterday or even late today, you kind of would have realised, right, they're not here to mess about. But letting it prolong to the run of games that we have, you can't leave it too long. You can't leave it too long. So, you Man City, you have Liverpool in there. And we have Liverpool as well twice, don't forget as well. So
they should have beat them. That's a handy 6 points against Liverpool.
No, but you don't want to go back to what with Jesse Marsh. We bet Liverpool and you bet someone else, and that kept them in the job for another 2-3 weeks. Then we start losing again, and this club.
There's always like what I find with Leeds United, and even what Mr. Whitesnake is saying here was a great do it now during the internationals. He has the players, but then you've got players away in international duty. Then you've got really tough fixtures and coming up, so it puts the new manager on the back foot. There's all these scenarios. I can't turn around and go, definitely right, this is what we do and this is the plan going forward. I know for one that now my feeling is that Daniel Farke has to go, but I'm like, if he goes, then we do put ourselves in another situation of trying to get the right manager in, getting the players on board over the international break and the tough run of fixtures as well. So there's so many ifs and buts, but that's just Leeds United, isn't it? But really, Dylan, all we want is Leeds United to do well. Look, there still is a long way to go in this season, Dylan. Look, it's not over by any stretch of the means, even though it might be a little bit over for Daniel Farke. For Leeds United, it's not over. Still a long way to go. We're still outside. We still haven't dropped into the relegation zone, so I do take a little bit of comfort and a little bit of pride in that. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, guys, as well. 51 in the building. Make sure you drop that like, guys. It really does help us out. What are we going to say there, pal?
I was saying that on work today as well. A lot of lads giving me stick over. I was like, yeah, but we're not in the relegation zone, so it's just a move.
Stevie Leeds says, if you don't change the manager, expect the same. Don't leave it too late. Exactly. I agree with that. Look, lads, we will wrap it up there. Look, we'll try and enjoy the international break. Yeah, I'm working on something in the background as well, so keep an eye out. That will be out over the international break as well. And we'll speak to you all again soon. So mind yourselves, mind each other. Catch you in the next one.